My name is Devin Pazik, and I'm the Executive Director of Nature's Educators. We're a 501c3 volunteer-operated nonprofit group. We're licensed by Douglas County, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to care for non-releasable birds of prey and reptiles for education. Boreas is our 2.5-year-old Swainson's hawk. He's a buteo, which means soaring hawk, so big wide wings for staying high in the sky and a wide tail. And they've got little tiny feet. They're very aerodynamic, so pretty streamlined. This bird was found downed, so out of his nest as a neonate, or a baby, a little fluff ball essentially, downtown Tucson, Arizona, and was picked up by a family and taken to a rehabilitation center. And in the rehabilitation process, he was hand raised and was imprinted, which means that he associates people with food. So he doesn't really understand that he should be out hunting and caring for himself. And an imprinted bird is not allowed to be released back to the wild because very low success rate.
So my name is Mackenzie. I am a volunteer coordinator here at Nature's Educators. What I do is I typically bring in new volunteers to the organization and show them around and how we run things around here. This is our Merlin falcon. Her name is Hera. She was actually found in the wild with a crooked wing, which led her not being able to fly anymore. So when we got her from a wildlife rehab facility, we actually took it upon ourselves to partially amputate her wing because it was so crooked that she kept stepping on it, which was actually causing further injury. So ever since we've amputated it, she's done a lot better. She actually still cannot fly, which is why she's going to spend the rest of her life with us as an educational ambassador. This here is an eastern screech owl. His name is Arctos. He was accidentally born at a wildlife rehab facility in Texas 3 years ago, so he's 3 years old. They put two injured owls together, and then the two owls got together and laid an egg, and they hatched the egg hoping that it would be able to be released into the wild, but he became a human imprint. So he thinks he's a little person now, and he spends the rest of his time as an educational ambassador for us. So Monty is a Burmese python. She's native to Southeast Asia. Monty is about 3 years old, so she's still very young and very small for her species. They're actually endangered in their natural habitat, but they've become an invasive species here in the United States. She was actually relinquished to us. A veterinarian had called us. She was in really bad shape. She had mouth rot, which is a disease that snakes can get. All the scales around their mouth start to rot. She's healthy now. She's very good being handled because she had so many injections put in her when she was still really sick. So she's used to being touched and she knows that we're not going to hurt her. Not everyone is super excited to see a reptile like a snake. A lot of people are scared of snakes and they don't understand how important they are to our ecosystem. They control rodent populations, which in turn, controls disease. So these guys are super important, and we want people to know that they're not animals that you should be scared of, but animals that you should respect.
So I had an amazing time once, this was a few years ago, I was doing a talk on gyrfalcons at a nature center, just randomly, like at a grocery store. This kid came up to me and was like, "Oh, you're the bird lady!" And he said, "You brought a falcon to our class." And I said, "Yeah, okay, well which falcon was it? Do you remember what bird you saw?" And he said it was Arctic, the white gyrfalcon. And I said, "Okay, well why is that so important for you to know all of this?" And he said, "So I can go on and do what you do, but teach kids like me from a child like me." And I found out afterwards when his mom came up to me after checking out, she said, "My child is autistic and this is his passion now. He's become absolutely obsessed with birds of prey." And so from that presentation, this child has now gone out and taught other kids that are his age to get excited about animals. And I think that was probably the most touching time I've ever been like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool, you saw our program." And not only did you just think, yeah, the birds are cool, or the snakes slithered and they were big, but you actually paid attention and learned something and went on and taught somebody else. So I think that was probably the best moment I've had.